Real Talk with Just for Girlfriends. We're here this afternoon to discuss the law of attraction. I am Michelle Skinner. I am a board member of Just for Girlfriends. And of course, I have with me my two beautiful co hosts. Why don't you introduce yourself, girls?
I am Robin McFarland. I'm also a board member. Also, I say this all the time, the proud first member of J for G. And really excited about this topic, law of attraction. Just I think it's in line with some of the goals that I want to do for this year, as well as I was researching, there's just a lot of things that align biblically and just things that I've in my life over the years. So I'm really excited to be here.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Angelique David, the founder and CEO of Just for Girlfriends. I am so excited about this show. The law of attraction is just really, it's one of those things where you put that positivity out and you bring it back. Before we get started, I want to tell everybody a little bit about Just for Girlfriends. Just for Girlfriends was founded on the premise that women are always so busy doing everything for everybody that we forget to take care of ourselves. Ladies, does this sound familiar to you? And fellas, do you have a woman who this sounds familiar to them? So what Just for Girlfriends does is we help women embrace self-care by providing fun and engaging experiences, but that's not it. We also have a powerful, amazing sisterhood of women all across the country where we are always there for each other. We are thinking about each other in our respective boardrooms, media interviews, everything. So we're always trying to help one another succeed in all of our lives. So really, Just for Girlfriends is a lot of law of attraction, positive people bringing positive things together.
That's great. And if you have not already, I please invite you to follow Just for Girlfriends on social media. We're on all the platforms at Just the number 4 and Girlfriends. You can find us there where we are discussing all types of things that help make women's and men's life easier. So to get back to our topic, I'm sure we have all heard that thinking positive thoughts leads to positive things. Well, today we are here to specifically discuss that phenomenon and what can we do practically to get it to work in our lives. Robin, why don't you kick off this conversation? What does the law of attraction mean to you?
Really, claiming it and naming it is probably the way that I look at it most, or way that I've heard of it and been brought up on it is claiming it, meaning you say it out loud and that's what you're going to get. But you also put you focus your attention on that. You put your actions towards that, and it becomes what you focus on. For it to be manifested. And that's another word that we hear all the time is that we're trying to manifest something. And so in the church world, claim it, you want it. I used to hear this all the time. You want a job, you claim it, and you go apply for it and you just claim that job and you look at that job description. So I see it in that way of, it's a way of thinking, a way of being. And as I was digging a little bit deeper into the depths of how big it can be, you're right, I was not doing it justice, or I was not using it enough, quite honestly. And so it's really more of thinking on what you want and really being really intentional and focusing your energy on that. And then that thing will come to you, because I also believe in energy. So we all have that energy that is out. It's there. Where does it go? It does not dissipate. It's somewhere. It's going somewhere. And so you want the good energy coming your way, if that's what you want, right? And so you want to attract that. So I'm claiming it and putting out good energy is the way that I look at it.
Yes, I'm claiming it too. Angelique, what do you think about when you hear the law of attraction?
Very similar to Robin. What I say is, like attracts like and negative attracts negative. And for me, it's that energy. So I've always been a person who feels like have you ever been around a person you feel like you feel their energy, and you'll be like, some people you're like, oh, wow, she just has a nice spirit. Just, you hear that word, she's got a nice spirit. And other people, you'll get around them and you'll say, oh, she's got a negative energy. There's just some negativity there. And so really for me, it's that like puts out like, and it's putting out what you want. Like Robin said, you claiming it, you thinking about, this is what I want, and visualizing it and seeing that and being able to grab it. And I do think it's not one of those things where you just say, oh, I want to be a movie star. I'm just going to sit here and think about it. You actually have to do stuff, but
Mhm.
it really does help you, motivates you, helps you move to get to that target. But you got to be careful because that negativity you'll draw that in too. If you're negative, if you're always like, oh, this job gonna fire me. Well, guess what? It's a good chance they're gonna fire you. But if you
Right.
have a different perspective, then that perspective can come.
That's absolutely right. And one of the things that I had to learn, or that I'm learning as I get, delve more into this topic, is that the law of attraction, that's what it is. It's a law, just like the law of gravity. We don't step out and think that we're going to float away. We rely on the law of gravity being there. And it's the
Yes.
same thing with the law of attraction. It is
Yes.
there. It's going to work for you if you work for it. So I'm really excited to get into this topic. Now, I know that, we usually hear about the law of attraction as it relates to love or attracting someone that you want to fall in love with. But it can be used in all areas of your life. I want to hear about some of the ways that you have used the law of attraction outside of love. Angelique, how about you?
Well, for me, hands down, it's been my career and money. So, sometimes people say it's not popular to say, "Ooh, I want to make a certain amount," but for me, it is. And what money represents for me is financial freedom. And with financial freedom comes a lot. It just comes, you have the ability to do things you might not have otherwise been able to do. And so that's really with my career and with the amount of money I have been able to, and by all means, I thank God and everything else, the amount of money and those bogeys that I've been able to hit, I've done with the law of attraction. So I can say that I started doing this when I was a kid. My very first job was at KFC. And I'll never forget, I worked real hard and got that first paycheck and was kind of looking at it like, did I just sling all this chicken for this little bit of money? But I actually still have that paycheck because I saw that and I said, you know what? When I get out of college, I want to look at what I'm making then versus what I'm making now. And then I did the same thing when I got out of law school. And then as I've gone through my career, I always have a number that I want to hit. And I don't just say, I wish to hit it. I say, I'm going to hit this number and I'm going to hit this number in this amount of years. Or if I'm looking for a position, I'll get to where I am. And then it's time for me to say, you know what? Next time I think I want to, now I'm working on this. Now I'm working on that. And it's been successful and gotten me to where I am today and really been able to have that financial freedom and hit those monetary targets that have been important for me. So money, career is where I've done it.
That's great. Robin, how about you?
I've done it in career as well as probably my own personal piece is where I would say in the last probably decade is where I focused my time. So from a career perspective, it was more about where do I want to be and how does it fit into my life, and really focusing on getting roles in my career that really aligned with what I wanted for my life, so to speak. Really important for me to be with my kids and my family and that sort of thing. So I was not willing to take some of these positions or offers that were given to me because they conflicted with what I had in plan for my life, so to speak. So I would kind of will myself, and I see it that way, will myself into roles. Roles were created, that sort of thing, so that it would align with my family, which was most important to me. And then I will say over the last, let's say the last decade, talking about peace and kind of aligning my life around that. And well, that meant, stepping away from some things, stepping away from some people, maybe including people more in certain areas. But and really asking, I remember at one point my prayer was to bring friends into my life and really focus on that. And I had to do something, right? I had to go out and be more social, but really bringing friends in my life that I liked and that I loved. You guys happen to be some of them, right? That I like and I loved and I care about. And a couple more people have come into my life. But it was really more about, at the end of the day, do I have peace? Can I lay down and have a peaceful night's rest? Do I have peace for my family? Am I bringing peace into my home? And that was something that I just, as life got too busy in my career and with my family, that was something that I really started focusing on and just making shifts. And then you'll just see how things kind of come your way. One of the things, example here of of traveling. And I really enjoyed traveling for work and being out and about and not being in an office and not being in, Chicago traffic seems like a very simple thing, but it was stressful in the life that I have. So I was able to talk about, man, these are the things that I want, asking for the things that I want. Here are the things that I want in my job, in my life, in my career. And by the time I know that I got in the job, that it was all there and things were starting to align. So I was like, this stuff is working. But I was being really intentional in that piece and checking that often, checking on that very often and making adjustments where I needed to.
That is very, 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 very true. I've seen that work in my life. And I think the area of my life that I've been most amazed by the law of attraction has been with my physical health. Growing up in many years, I used to have this shellfish allergy where I couldn't even be in the same room with someone eating or preparing shrimp.
Oh, wow.
And, and it just, it used to smell good and look good, but I just had this allergic reaction. And it wasn't like I just said one day, universe, just let me eat all the shrimp. I just want all the shrimp. It wasn't like that. It was more of being grateful that that was the only thing that I was allergic to. Just as this piece that you were talking about, just being grateful that there were other things that I did enjoy. And I believe that just opened the universe up to give me what I wanted. So, I have no more shellfish allergy. And it's been that way for a couple of years. And I also saw that with a sprained ankle that I had. Many, many years ago, I had a really, really bad sprain where I was on crutches for a while, had to go through physical therapy, and the ankle has just been weak, from that point on. And I think I've sprained it probably another time after that. It took a long time to rehabilitate. So most recently, last year, I think it was, I sprained my ankle again. I was very frustrated. And, the first thing that I thought was like, oh my God, these old bones, they need to get it together. I'm not ready to settle down. And I immediately checked myself and said, you are able to get around, be blessed that you can walk. And I started thinking about my ankle and how I, focused on the one that did work. Like at least I have one ankle that did work. And that was the shortest convalescence I've ever had. The ankle snapped right back. I was right back to running and working out. And it, even though, like I said, we hear about it all the time, focus on positive things, you'll get positive results. But sometimes it just surprises you when it shows up the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So that's great. So, now I'd like to introduce a special guest. There she is. Miss Kalila Stark Adams is here, and she is going to join our conversation about the law of attraction. She has a great story to tell. I'm not going to tell it for her. Kalila, why don't you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. So happy to be here. I learned about the law of attraction in 2013, but it wasn't until 2015 that I took a really deep dive to understand the principles and really apply it into my life. And since then, I've used it to manifest love. I recently married my best friend in August of 2020. And I've used it really to enhance every aspect of my life, because I realized that the law of attraction is something, like you said earlier, it's working, whether you decide to work with it or not. Everything in your life you've manifested. So in 2015, I just wanted to learn how to manifest better things. It's funny, there's some areas in your life where it's just natural to think positive. For me, it was very natural to think positive in the area of career. So my career, my background is human resources, and I've worked for some great companies, had some great experiences. Love, not so much. So I'm a divorced single mom, as I said, recently married, and after divorce and a few relationships that didn't work so well, I figured that there were some things that I needed to figure out in the area of love.
Oh, that's great. Now, I understand that you have a blog where you focus on the law of attraction, especially as it pertains to love. What is, introduce your blog to our audience.
Yes, my blog is High Powered Love. I just started my blog in November of 2020, so very new, but I'm amazed. In the past couple months, I've had so many experiences to do podcasts. So many people have reached out to me saying that the information that I'm sharing is really helpful. And I just realized, especially after 2020 was a really rough year, and I think people were really looking for something positive so that they could, enhance 2021, their experiences in 2021. So I think the timing was really great. So so far I'm having a blast with it.
Well, we can blame 2020 on Robin, because remember, she put out there she didn't want to travel, she wanted to stay at home. The law of attraction,
know
Robin,
I like
you
to stay at home. I am a homebody. I love
Makes
it.
so much sense now.
Yeah. I'm powerful. That was really powerful.
And so I give tips. I give tips about how to use the law of attraction to primarily attract love. But I let people know that these principles work whether you want to attract love, if you want to attract money, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to attract money.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you want to move up within your career, it's all energy. So I come at it from the love standpoint, because that was a big piece for me. And because I just got married in August, that's what people typically think of. But it's everything.
I want to hear more about attracting the love of your life. Tell us that story.
So
Yes.
Very interesting. I met my husband in 2012, and we were very good friends. Never anything between us. And I was divorced. I had dated several, I dated, been in relationships, didn't work. In 2013, he actually introduced, I was on his team. I was in a network marketing company. He introduced us to affirmations. And then in 2015, I took my deep dive, learned deeper about the law of attraction, about feeling good. And I started doing my affirmations, declarations, visualizations, and we ended up dating. So we started dating in 2017 and recently got married. So talk about it being right under your nose. I had no idea that he would be the person that I would marry. I always looked at him as a very good friend. And in January, we decided to start dating. And probably the first 6 months, we would just look at each other and say, how did that happen? This is just...
That's sweet.
I love that.
I love it.
And
On one of your
that's the way
blogs,
it is.
on one of your blogs, you had told a story that just really resonated with me. You said something about you were looking at your daughter and you like had a wedding dress or something, and she was like, "You don't even have a boyfriend, Mom. What are you talking about?" Can you tell us that story?
Yeah, so it was really funny. So I really got into this. So I'm like, you know what? I have to believe that this is possible. And I got really excited about the prospect of getting married again. So I picked out my dress, the style of dress that I wanted. I picked out my ring. And I remember I was having a conversation with my daughter at my mother's kitchen table. And I'm telling her, I'm actually showing my mom's cousin the dress and the ring. And my daughter looks at me and she's like, "You don't even have a boyfriend. Like, what are you doing?" And I told her, that's a minor detail.
Right.
I got that in my mind. I'm like, that's a minor detail. I'm not worrying about that. But isn't this dress gorgeous?
Right. That's great.
So
I love that. Yeah, a good dress is hard to find. So I can totally relate to that.
I had this vision of what I wanted. And let's see, I want to say that was in 2015. And then Vince and I, my husband, we started dating December of 2017, and we got engaged in 2017. And my ring is very similar to the ring that close to my vision. So it's nice that she saw the entire process of her thinking that I was just this crazy person to the actual manifestation happening.
Well, I'm sure that was a good lesson to teach her too. And setting your intentions. I love that. We have Katie Flowers in our comments. She mentioned about, the difficulty in finding love with people being so selfish, only worried about themselves. How can you use the law of attraction to sort of feel more confident that you will receive that which you're looking for?
Sure. Well, you know what? That's a great question. I think what we often do is focus on what we don't want. So we're focusing on the selfish people that, we have met. So instead, start to affirm that the universe is abundant and I am meeting people who are giving. And it's a part of, you have to kind of create a belief for yourself. One thing, a belief is something that you've said to yourself over and over again to the point where you believe it. And that's why affirmations are so powerful. So start to say, I'm great. I'm so grateful that I'm meeting giving people. And then also start to think about who are the giving people, the people that are not selfish that are in your life right now, and start to really appreciate them. And then you'll start to think about it like, okay, you know what? Not everybody is selfish. I have come in contact with some people that are selfish, which has helped me identify that I don't want that. But now I can focus on affirming and being grateful that more people are coming to my life that are not selfish, that are very giving.
And how do you keep, because there is so much negative that can be out there, or we just bear the weight of a lot of things. How did you keep that out of the way to focus on the positive, the grateful, the good?
So every morning I would start out with gratitude. I literally sit in my bed and I would journal all of the things that I was grateful for. And then I would close my eyes and I would think about the people in my life that I love. When I wasn't in a relationship, and here's the thing, love is love. Like, it's not just romantic, love is love. When I thought about the love of my niece, who just gives just unconditional love, she's big hugs and kisses, that made me feel so good. So it's just a matter of taking time to remind yourself of what is good right now. What can I be grateful for? And then thinking of those things that are pure, loving, that just give you goosebumps. You've got to have some people in your life or some things in your life. I was just telling my daughter, what are some things that make you feel really good? If it's a painting, if you're an artist and it's a painting and you feel so good about that painting, take some time to think about the painting, the art project that you worked on that made you feel so good. It's just a matter of flooding yourself, taking time to flood yourself with good thoughts, because life is life. There's a lot of things going on. So if you can just start your day like that, and then even if you got to check in with yourself at the end of the day and then at night, just take those time. I call it my me time, where I'm centering. Right now I have my couch time. So in the morning, I go and I sit on the couch and I get in my happy place. I think about things that make me happy. I think about the many things that I'm grateful about. And that, when you start your day off like that, you'd be surprised how you can pull in more things that make you feel good, that keep that vibe going.
I love that.
I've had people asking me this, and I'd like to get your perspective, Kalila. What about attracting those things that you just have no idea is something that you need in your life? So basically you can be intentional, you can focus on what you want, but you're sort of limited by your experiences. Right. And it happens all the time. So how can we teach people to open themselves up to attract whatever the universe has in store for you?
Yeah, so it's so easy to kind of make up your mind about what you want, whether it's like, I want to be with this specific person, or I want this job, but your view is so limited. And oftentimes there's something out there that is so much better. So what I tell people is that it's okay for you to have this vision of what you want, but always end it with, I'm open to this or something better. Because and let me tell you something, my husband is way better than what I had in my mind.
I love it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Like he is, I mean, he's amazing. He is amazing.
Awesome.
And, I had all of these things that, I was asking God for. And when he came into my life, he was more than what I was asking for. So it's just a matter of just being open. Like, I've got this vision, but I'm open to a bigger, grander vision than what I painted for myself. And that can be challenging, because it's like the heart wants what you hear, the heart wants what the heart wants.
The heart wants, yeah.
I've made up my mind. But part of learning about the law of attraction and believing that it is true is believing that the universe is abundant and you don't know it all.
Yeah, that's really true. I've seen that in my career, where I thought that I wanted a certain job, but I was open to other things, and then suddenly the job that I had was so much more, or I was reaching for something. So I've definitely seen that. One thing that you said that just kind of resonated with me is when you talked about that you have your happy couch and you start off in the morning and you sit there, because that's a part of self-care. Yes. So the whole law of attraction, as you're talking about positivity, really goes to self-care. It also crosses over, as I'm listening to you, into also mindfulness, because part of mindfulness is being present. And you talked about that, and being grateful as to what's going on now. A lot of times when we're stressed out, think about right now, as we're all sitting here, nothing's bad. Nothing bad is happening. Well, we've got a dog happening.
We got dogs over here.
But as we sit here, you usually, when you're stressed out, you're thinking about things that happened in the past or things that might happen in the future. And you don't know if it's going to happen in the future. So we spend a lot of time being stressed out for no reason, because those things don't happen. So if you take time and think about your present, where are you right now? Everything is usually good in the present. Yeah. You can really reduce a lot of that stress and be grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about the patience to do that, right? Because we can do all of this and we can wake up, but there needs to be patience. Sometimes things doesn't work on our time, and it works on, right? Again, we go back to the claiming it and name. It works on God's timing or the universe timing. What do you do for patience? How do you keep your patience? Because I do see people jump in and get impatient and say, oh, that's it. And then you go and you make a mistake somewhere.
Mm-hmm. You know what, for me, I just remind myself that if I'm feeling good, I'm on my way. With the law of attraction, it's like attracts like, and the better I'm feeling, the better I'm on my path, the better things I'm bringing into my life. So I do just a check. How am I feeling? I'm feeling great, so I must be on my way. And then I just remind myself, I go back to the times where, I was unsure, but guess what? It worked out. I spent time, I think about love, we came together exactly when we needed to come together. He was not available. While I was working on myself, he wasn't available. So that was a manifestation that took as long as it needed to take, because there was nothing that could happen. So I just, kind of remind myself that things take time, and just because you think you're ready, that thing that you want may not be ready for you, and you don't want it before it's ready for you. So that's just a reminder. That's just a reminder for myself. And also, if I'm feeling good, I must be on my path, and I'm ready. That other thing must not, and I can wait. But it comes down to a decision to accept. And it can be challenging, because the some things that you want, you feel like, gosh, I really want, there's a sense of urgency. But then also you have to remind yourself, the more you want something, the more there's a sense of urgency, you're actually slowing it down. You slow it down with your energy, you're resisting it. So then I ask myself, okay, do you really want to slow this down? Okay, well then let's just chill out.
Yeah.
One of the things you said, and it reminds me of a practice that I do, it's about being grateful and just showing gratitude in all things. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I've started doing a couple of years back, and it brings me just so much joy, is that I keep a jar. And every time something good happens, no matter how small it is, I'll write it on a little piece of paper, fold it up, and put it in the jar. And every New Year's Eve, I pull out those little pieces of paper. And I mean, you're talking about feeling good. And it could be something as small as, I did not eat that cookie today. You know, I remind myself that, there were so many good things that happened throughout the year. And I believe that opens me up to just receiving even more of what the universe has to offer. What have you heard? What do you think is the biggest thing that is a stumbling block to those who want to sort of harness this law of attraction and get it to working for them?
A stumbling block, I would say, is focusing too much on that thing, whatever it is that you want, instead of focusing on the feeling that will be generated once you get that thing. That's that feeling, that emotion, that's your energy. And if you are so focused on that thing, you actually send messages out that I don't have that. And then the universe shows you don't have that. So, a big principle is focus on, bring in those positive emotions, your happiness, your peace. People tend to focus so much on what's at the end of what they're looking for, whether it be the relationship, whether it's the money, instead of the happiness and peace that actually gets you to the relationship, the money, so much easier, so much effortlessly.
That's a very good point. So if I heard you correctly, I think that it is important to focus on, what you want to feel versus the actual thing. And that is probably something that will open you up to something you had never even thought is what you need.
Yeah. And for me, when I would sit and think about my niece, because that was just she was very young at the time. So that was just such a pure love. And, she get on her parents' nerves, not mine. I'm
right.
without the responsibility. So as I'm focusing on that pure love, that's such a strong emotion, such a strong vibration that I was able to pull in the ultimate love that I had not even envisioned for myself. I envisioned great love, but when he came along, I'm like, oh, wow. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Great.
Right.
But in my visualizations, when I would think about those happy thoughts, I wasn't thinking about like some man that I wanted to be with. I was thinking of just the pureness and the beauty of love and how that feels. And that's what opened me up to bringing in so much more than I had even thought of through the process.
So someone in our audience, Karen James, wants to know if you have a YouTube channel, or is there some way that she can get these nuggets all year long?
I do not have a YouTube channel, but I do have a website, highpoweredlove.com. And on there, I've got a few of my video appearances. I've got my blog posts, everything that I've written since starting in November. I do what's called a daily sprinkle of love that I put out on social media, but I also add it to my website, which are tips and tricks around the law of attraction, attracting whatever it is you want in life. Obviously, I focus a lot about love. So you can find everything in High Powered Love. Because this is new. This is just, this is my baby right now, but I will be branching out to other platforms. But for now, it is High Powered Love. And then also on there are my social media links where you can link up to my Instagram, Twitter, what have you.
Oh, that's awesome. So I know we've been talking a lot about love in the last few minutes. Let's hear about some of the ways that you have harnessed this law of attraction to sort of get abundance in other areas of your life.
Sure. You know what? Here's the thing. Like I said earlier, law of attraction is working in all aspects of your life. So in the morning, when I do the different things that I do, it really is so that I can have a peaceful day, a positive day. So I really, at this point, I have such a peace in my life. And I know that it's because I take time to focus on my emotions and always make sure that I've got the best emotion, that I'm feeling the best so that I attract the best. And I can tell you my biggest manifestation of all is high powered love. Because for me to come up with this idea and start in November, and I've had so many subscribers that are just so many subscribers added, so many people reaching out to me for opportunity to opportunity. And it really is the law of attraction. When you feel great and you make decisions from a place of feeling great and not creating this picture of what it has to be, but being open to everything. It's amazing. It's amazing where life will take you, what opportunities will come to you. So I would say that, and then just the peace that I have at home, the peace that the love that I have within my life. Those are the biggest manifestations of all.
Yeah, I think that's what is more important now than ever with everything that happened in 2020 and as we are now in 2021 and things are a little different, but really the same. You know, we're still kind of stuck in the house, not going out, being careful. Vaccine information is coming from different directions. I think more now than ever, it's important to have those positive vibes, to have that positive thinking, to really have that peace. You know, that's sometimes where I frankly sometimes struggle, is making sure that I have that peace, because life gets stressful. I've got to, especially as we're all stuck in the house, I sometimes call my house the crazy house, because I've got 2 kids, 2 dogs, 2 birds, a mother and a husband that we all live in the same house. So at any point in time, dogs are barking, birds are flying by, and kids are running in. And sometimes I get overwhelmed. And so to hear some of the tips that everyone is talking here about, taking time, thinking positive thoughts, bringing that positive energy, that's really important, especially I think in our Black community, because we do have more stress, anxiety, all of those things that we've seen how it's affected even here in this pandemic, how we've had a disproportionate people die because we have those underlying disease. But a lot of that comes from having too much stress, anxiety, and not putting these things in practice. So more important now than ever that we really do put this stuff in practice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, every day there are, a lot of times we take for granted the small things, such as I got a good parking space, or I was in the grocery store and I look as I'm shopping and there's a line down the aisle. And then by the time I'm done, there's nobody and I can go right.
Right. No,
That happens to me a lot. And I know it's because, and that's not to say I don't stand in long lines, but more times than not, it's the little stuff that means so much, and that happens for me. So it's not, just the big manifestations. I want $1 million. It's like, wow, life is really easy. I go to the grocery store and all of a sudden it's cleared out and I'm able to, get right through. I got a parking space right in front and it was completely full. And then I get there and all of a sudden I've got a parking space and I can go right in. It's those types of things that it's really neat to experience that.
Right. Versus what I would say would be the opposite is when you go to the store and you're like, oh, it's Sunday. This place is going to be crowded. There's going to be no parking spots. Yep. When you put that out there, you're probably.
That's what it is.
That is what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. So for people trying to start this, right? Because we get off track, right? We get off track. We need to start a habit. You talked about journaling. You also talked about your couch time. Like, what tips do you have for people wanting to get started and really to stay on track with it for, forever, for going forward with this new way?
Yeah. So I would say get a good journal. Okay. Gratitude is a great place to start. YouTube is actually where I started my journey in learning. You can learn whatever, you can become an expert in whatever you want to become an expert in these days, because we are in the age of information. There is no shortage. Google it, go on YouTube and learn about the law of attraction. Obviously, you can come to my blog to learn more, but get a good journal and get a good practice. Start to write what you're grateful for in the morning. Start to think about, what are the things that I'm focusing on? Okay, I know what I don't want. So how do I start to change my thinking or my focus on what I do want? And start to, create some affirmations that really help you drill down on what it is you want and imprint those thoughts in your mind, so that you can start to create some beliefs around what it is you really want, and recognize that it's not an overnight process. It is something that, positive thinking and, really raising your vibration, it's something that takes time, but there's certainly rewards when you're willing to stick with it.
And it's going to happen. Sometimes you're going to have those bad days, and
Oh yeah.
You shouldn't beat yourself up about that. It's definitely going to happen. But as soon as you recognize that, instead of, going down that rabbit hole, try to focus on something that you're grateful for, something that did go right. You can always find something to sort of turn that energy around. So I think that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, because no matter how mindful you are, we're all going to have bad days. I give myself, if something really not so good happens, I will give myself a day to just, but then, later that day or the next day, it's like, okay, new day. That if you don't feel well, you are moving in a direction that you're going to find some things along that journey that you're not going to want to deal with. So let's take time. How can we find the silver lining? I'm talking to myself, okay, what's the silver lining here? How can I feel better? So it's just a matter of just be nice to yourself and know that you will have those times when you're not feeling well, but you can always pick yourself back up, and you can make the decision to start channeling your thoughts in a better direction. And I think gratitude is a perfect way to start.
Yeah. For those of our viewers who have been watching, everyone knows that I love quotes. And so my quote today is, be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. And I always say that. And I often have to tell myself that, just like you said, when things are going your way and you feel like, I don't want to be positive day, and you're kicking and you're screaming and you're thinking, no, life does suck today. And sometimes you feel like that, but don't dig yourself deep in that. One of the things that we really like to provide with Just for Girlfriends, and like I said, we've got amazing women like the four of us. Yes, we're all amazing. All across the country. And so those viewers, you can join Just for Girlfriends, but that's part of what we do. Is often, if I'm feeling like that, I know that I can call Kalila, I can call Michelle, I can call Robin, any of my Just for Girlfriends, and you'll listen, and then you'll tell me, okay, knock it off. That's not as bad. What about this? What about that? And it's done with love. It's done with love, and it's done with caring. But it's okay, like you said, to give yourself that reprieve, because sometimes it does feel bad, and acknowledge that, but be gentle with yourself.
And you're so on point, because especially as women, we're caretakers for the most part. And we always put ourselves last. We have to stop that. And like I said, don't beat yourself up if you don't do something exactly the way you anticipated. So I love having those reminders and girlfriends like you guys that keep me on track, snap out of it. And I love that. And it's a safe space too. I love that I can text you and say, man, today is a rough one. I'm having trouble here. And immediately, okay, what's going on? Okay, let's focus on this. Didn't this happen? What about? And I'm smiling, and trying to, get that vibration high again. So I think that's the message that we want to get out there, is that, law of attraction will work. but that doesn't mean that you're going to be all roses and sunshine all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to recognize that.
Oh
I
yeah.
love it. I love it.
Experience.
Are there other things other than journaling that may help you to vibrate on a higher level? Like, do you recommend meditation or yoga or anything along those lines?
There are so many practices out there. Meditation is great. Visualization, affirmations, declarations. There are so many things out there to enhance or to raise your vibration. For me, I found that the meditation, the journaling is very just writing for me is a high vibe activity, which makes sense since I've started blogging. I love writing. It is just it's a spiritual connection. As I'm typing, as I'm writing, I just escape to another world. So it's just a matter of finding what feels good. For some people, dancing. Dancing is my happy place. I will turn on the music and I'll start dancing, and instantly I don't even know what was going on because I'm just in zone. So it really is, what are the things that feel good? And you may have to think, like, even as a child, what were the things that I really enjoyed doing as a child? Was it dancing? Because right now, as you become an adult and a mom, a caretaker, everything that you do tends to have something attached to it. I'm doing this for money. I'm doing this to take care of my family. Well, vibing high is not attached to anything. It's what feels good. So start to think about what are those things that feels great for me. My daughter is an artist. So when I see that she's feeling crappy, I tell her to stop what you're doing and work on your art. Because when she works on her art, I just see her spirit. She comes alive. She's in a great, a great mood, and she's excited, showing me, let me show you, here's my vision, and this is what I did, and isn't this great? That's an instant mood vibrational lift. So it doesn't have to be journaling. I'm a writer. It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be visualization. It should be something that is exciting and that feels good for you, that doesn't necessarily have anything attached to it. My daughter, she's a senior. So everything right now is college application, school, and grades. And I tell her, there's value in doing something that doesn't have that attached to it. I know you think that your art doesn't have value, but it's actually the most valuable thing that you can do, because if you're feeling good, all that stuff falls in place. But we focus so much on the other stuff, trying to make the other stuff better by focusing directly on it. You can go over here and do something that feels good, and then that all of a sudden gets better. So I tell, you have to do things from a good place, from a place where your vibration is up. And if art is it, is dancing it, if whatever is it, do it, because that's going to make whatever you're trying to accomplish so much more easier to get through.
That's funny what you just said. It reminds me of these memes that you have been seeing going around social media, where people are saying, you have all this free time, start a business. And so people have been saying, okay, take your stimulus check and start a business. It's not always about that.
No.
Get into your happy place and not feeling guilty about that.
Yeah. And sometimes we do feel like our happy place needs to be connected to some type of financial objective, career objective, because we're adults and we need to take care of our family and we need to achieve. And it's no, that's important. But how you feel is actually way more important, because if you feel great, then all that other stuff, you'd be surprised when you're feeling great. Think about the even better ideas that you can come up with just because you're feeling great. I know that when I'm feeling good, I'm much more creative, and I'm able to solve problems much easier. I'm able to kind of get through something a lot quicker when I'm feeling better. There's a lot of value there, and we don't place enough value there. We place value on things.
That's so true. I often tell my daughter too, she loves to cook. So when that seems to be her happy place, she'll go in the kitchen. Now she doesn't like to clean, so I got to get her to clean the kitchen after cooking, but she loves to cook. So when she goes in there, she's like in her zone, in her happy place, just like whipping up all of this food. And that's one of those things. So that's a great tip, is to find something. I think for me, it's dancing. I love dancing. I think I have a few of them, which is good, and I'm going to hone it. I love dancing. Talking to friends. If I'm feeling bad and I call Robin, call somebody, I am just like, after the conversation, I've talked it out. It's all over. I'm happy. And then the last one for me is a hot shower. The shower is a very, very happy place.
Oh, that's
a hot shower.
I will say that many of J4G was really born in the shower. It was just
I have my best thoughts in the shower.
My best thoughts come out of a nice hot shower.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll come out the shower and I'll be like, oh, and we're gonna do this, and now I can do this. And really, it's just that place. And again, sometimes it's multiple showers a day if Dave is a bad day. But you get in that happy zone.
Yeah.
Those showers are powerful.
Yes.
Yes, they are. Yeah. And I like that. Just a closet, like a corner of quiet is good for me. I know many people, for those of you who are going to join J4G and see me, you'll be like, she's an extrovert. I am so not. I am so much an introvert that quiet is just the place. Otherwise, sometimes it gets too noisy for me, even when it's not a lot of noise. And just a secret place, or just a corner, close my bedroom door, get all the dogs out of my room, that sort of thing. It's nice. And that works for me. I think eating might have been something I've picked up on recently too here. But certainly a quiet place. And I just like that it's so individual. It's to you. So like you're talking about, Khalil, you're getting the dress and trying it on and being okay with somebody saying, but you don't even have a boyfriend. And like, whatever. Mind your business, right? Right. There's something about the mind your business ministry. Get in that, right? So do what works. Right. Do what works best for you and be okay with that and have no shame in that as well. I think that is a lot that I've learned over the last year. Who cares what other people think? It's working for me, and it's working for my productivity and my peace and things that I'm working towards. One of the other things I wanted to ask about was like vision boarding. Now, I know that's like popular. It's one of those things that is out there. I see it a lot. People are doing it virtually. But before they would do it, and I tried to do, I just couldn't get into it. And I was like, man, am I not right? Am I just, what's up with the vision board? Why can't I get into it? Like, is that a part of like the journaling or the long-term vision? Where do you see that? Or is that just another method?
No. Because, really whatever you focus on grows. And, that's the whole point of creating a vision board. Because if I am consistently focusing on my vision, then that is essentially what I'm attracting.
Okay. Not
everything works for everyone.
Yeah.
My husband is into law of attraction, and he's like, I think he said visualization. He's probably when Albert's always like, that's not what I said. But
he's in the chat big time. So
for real. Yeah. Tell us what you were saying. Yeah.
It's one of the processes. Like, I really like visualization, and I don't believe he likes it. I believe he says that it's one of those. I really like the visualization, different aspects of playing around with as if, and some of that stuff, he's like, that just doesn't resonate with me. He journals. He's really into meditation. He's into sound frequency. Sound frequency is not my thing. He's into tapping, so everybody there's so many things out there, and you just kind of pick what really resonates with you, what feels good for you. So I can tell you that I've never done a vision board. I did a travel vision collage, and this was probably in 2014, 2015. They were like, there's so many places that I want to go. So I just did a collage of different places that I wanted to go. That thing sat there. It was electronic, and I would look at every once in a while, but it was whatever. Gosh, I would say in maybe a year, 2 years, maybe 2 years time. When I met my husband, he travels quite a bit. Well, not obviously not last year, but he was traveling quite a bit for his job. He DJs. And all of a sudden, I'm going place to place to place. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like I'm looking, I'm like, oh, wow, some of these are checked off. Some of them I hadn't, but I had gone some other cool places. I'm like, wow, like when I look at how many trips I've taken over this past, year and a half, I would say from 2017 to 2019 when we were traveling, I'm like, wow, that like I look back at this travel collage that I've made, and yeah, I didn't make it to some of these places, but I made it to many more places than was on this original collage. So some would say that there's power there. And I do believe that there's power, but you just find what works for you, because I've manifested some great things and I've never done a huge vision board, but I am going to be going to a vision board party. So that's something that, I'll finally get to do a vision board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, our time is almost up. This has been a great conversation. Real quick, 10 seconds. I want us to go around. If there's one thing you want our viewers to remember from this conversation, what will it be? Angelique.
Be gentle with yourself.
Robin.
Be patient. Take your time. It works.
And my point would be the law of attraction is going to work all the time, whether you are working with it or not. And Kalila, please finish us out with words of wisdom.
I would say find the beauty in your life right now. So if you are wanting to attract love, find the love in your life right now. Focus on it, be grateful for it, feel those feelings of love, and watch what happens next.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're so glad that you were here with us today. And so that is our episode of Real Talk with Just for Girlfriends. And I hope that you start focusing on some of the things that we've said. We gave you some practical tips on how you can harness the law of attraction in your life. But just in case you're not quite there yet, next month, we will be back with an episode on identifying toxic relationships and what you can do about them. Well, thank you. We appreciate your time. Go out and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.